I'm Kat Moss from Scowl, and I sing in the band. I sing, scream, spit, whatever. Um, and um, Scowl's this weird combination of hardcore punk and alternative rock, I guess, from Bay Area, California. But we do have one guitarist who's from Philadelphia, which is on the other side of America on the East Coast. Yeah, there's five of us, and we've been doing this since 2019, I want to say. And it's been a ball. It's been such a blast. We started as just a DIY hardcore band, and we just wanted to play shows with our friends, and somehow we have fallen into playing shows all over the world, and it's been a dream come true.
Fantastic, Kat. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You
I'm
you
so
you,
excited.
you say somehow very modestly though, because I'd say it's been a lot of hard work and effort from you guys to put yourselves there. So it's not just as if you've landed in the middle of all these bands.
It feels like it sometimes, but you're right. It has been a lot of hard work and a lot of grinding, a lot of sleepless nights. The classic blood, sweat, and tears for sure.
Very cool. Now we're here to talk about your new album, Are We All Angels, which comes out on April the 4th. So how are you feeling about it?
So excited. I love this record, and I am definitely excited to get it out. I've heard all the songs for about a year now, and I'm just ready for the rest of the world to consume it.
Okay, can you tell us a bit more about it from a musical point of view and what you're actually going for with it?
Yeah. There was a lot of things that were unexpected that happened in the final product of the record. When we went in to write, I knew I wanted to incorporate a lot more melody and showcase my ear for harmonies and just vocal production as a whole. I think everybody in the band wanted to include more of their personal influences, and it kind of created this really beautiful collage. Um, Musically, it's hard to put your finger on like really what it is, and it's because we weren't focused on applying ourselves to any one genre, just more so applied ourselves to write songs that felt good and conveyed the emotions we wanted to convey. um the record is, it's very, very sparkly sounding in my opinion, and it's got this like bubblegum, almost like 90s alternative thing going, and it's really fun. But on the poetic side, the lyrics and the story, I wanted to kind of do that juxtaposition of having these like fun feeling songs, um and then talking about some personal stuff that isn't quite so fun and happy.
Nice. Now, you raised an interesting point there because all the press that you read about the album calls it a hardcore album, but it's selling is a little bit short in that respect, I think, because there's so much more going on. You've got some punk in there, there's some alternative rock, there's some hard rock, it's not just a hardcore record, is it?
No, it's definitely not. I wouldn't self-claim that even. It's not a hardcore record from a band that is a hardcore band.
Yeah.
That has hardcore or perhaps hardcore people in the band. And that kind of creates this really beautiful thing, in my opinion, where, we're just kind of feeling it out as we go in the dark, and that is the reality of songwriting as a whole. Doesn't really matter if it's hardcore or indie music or whatever. Um, but it was very freeing to enter that space with the music and just make what felt right.
Right. Now, to date, you've released a single, Not Hell, Not Heaven. And it's a great song, but again, it'd be hard to choose singles to represent the album sonically because there is such a diversity there. But does this one go close?
Go close as in,
As in representing the album musically, it's like
uh,
sonically.
oh, it's hard to answer that. I feel like Not Hell, Not Heaven is a bit of an outlier. in some regards, but I also do feel like every song, while some of them might have similar pacing, or structuring, it kind of stands on its own, and it's really hard to place. It's hard to pick. I can't pick my favorite song. And right now, my favorite song is not a single. So I can't really give you, I can't give you a very straight answer there.
That's fair enough. The album opens with the track Special, which is like it's a hard rocking kick in the face straight up. Like, what choose that particular song to set things off?
I think we knew it would be a good song to showcase post Psychic Dance Routine, which is our previous EP, and like prior to really announcing this record and giving it like giving everyone kind of the full view without the music first. I think that it was in a way a great, bridge between the two.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice. Yeah. I also noticed with the album title too, like in the copies I've got anyway, there's no question mark after Are We All Angels? So is it a statement or is it a question?
Up to interpretation, which I know is the worst answer coming from artists. It is. It is.
Yeah.
It's something we talked about and we were intentional with, and you know, it was a complicated conversation because to some degree it was like, well, like let's figure this out. Let's make a decision on question mark or period or exclamation, whatever. Put the punctuation there, make it something, and we kind of were like, no, in Scowl fashion, we were like, actually, you don't get to. We're not going to make it obvious. Like you get to figure it out for yourself, and there isn't really any right or wrong answer there, because it's supposed to be introspective.
Yeah. I know with me the answer is no, if it's a question. Now, I know you guys don't write these press releases, but it says in there that the album finds the band funneling their aggression through a more expansive version of themselves, which is quite poetic. Can you explain what they mean by that? I think they just mean that we're not just expressing ourselves through breakdowns and screams and two steps anymore. It's further than that. Yeah. And then how did you go about making that happen? I just decided to sing more, and we challenged ourselves by, where maybe in the past we would be writing a song and coming up with riffs that were, would lead into a hardcore part or something that was more metal inspired. We chose other avenues, and then at times we did the hardcore thing. We did the heavier thing also. I feel like musically the record isn't that shocking. I think it's just some of the choices I decided to make vocally are not expected, perhaps. I didn't expect them. I just knew I was going to do it, but I didn't know what it was going to really like flesh out to be. Yeah. And was that a difficult process for you? No, it was so fun. It was really freeing. I think it was really freeing because I feel like I've had these ideas for a long time. So it was finally like coming out of me. And I finally had the platform in the moment to just express it finally after years of being in a touring environment and not really being able to write besides poetry. Nice. You've also said previously that the songwriting was more collaborative on Are We All Angels? So how so compared to other albums? In previous Scowl history, when it comes to writing, we oftentimes Malachi, our guitarist, one of our guitarists, and I would just kind of take the reins on it, and everyone would follow suit. Whereas this time around, everybody kind of had a moment where they came up with the core of a song, where it was like, oh, hey, I have this riff idea, or I have this fill, or I would, Mikey and I, our other guitarists, there was a few songs where he would do a little noodle on guitar, or I would sing a little line, and then we'd be like, oh, wait, that kind of works together, and do the musician thing. But this is just the first time it came together in such a more
collaborative effort. And I think it was one, oh, the door was more opened for that because we wanted to give this like maturation to the music. And we also just didn't want to write the same stuff over and over. And I think it's very important to be collaborative so you can come up with new things and new ideas. I think you're doing yourself a disservice by not working with new people or working with people in a different way. And I don't want to write the same record over and
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, no. So for fans of the band, how does Are We All Angels differ to your last one, Psychic Dance Routine?
I think that psychic dance routine is a bit of like a cracked door where Are We All Angels is like a full step through the doorway of what we are trying to achieve sonically. And what that is I guess more melody and more influence showcasing more influence from outside hardcore, not just hardcore and punk. Or at least doing it in a way that's like unique and maybe something never done before, and perhaps trying to do something that people can't quite put their fingers on,
There you go. And this is also Scowl's first album with Bad Oceans. So what does that mean
Yeah.
for the band, changing labels at this stage of your career?
I mean, it's exciting. I'm a huge fan of Dead Oceans and the artists they have. And we take pride in being outliers if we can, and so it's really exciting to think of being on this label that has primarily like, indie alternative, softer sounding musicians and being this like kind of raw, like sandpapery sounding band. And to me, it's very juicy. I love it. And I'm not insecure about it. Like I find a lot of comfort in doing something a little bit backwards or different.
Great.
It's cool. I'm like, yeah, let's do something unexpected. But at the same time, it's terrifying because we're the smallest band slash artist on the label, and it's new territory. But I have a lot of faith in the band and like my best friends who put in all the work with me, and that we can just make something fun out of it no matter what.
Nice. Now, you mentioned before Scowl formed back in 2019. So what was the musical climate like that gave birth to the band, and where did you guys fit in initially?
I mean, we're a local hardcore band. We started, like I said, with the intentions of just playing shows with our friends. And to me, it was like I love hardcore. I loved hardcore. It was like everything. I just wanted to participate in any way I could. And I always wanted to sing in a band, but I'd never done it before. So I was really scared. And I didn't want to stand in my own way anymore. It was kind of like a leap I wanted to take. And there was no intention beyond just doing the band and writing a demo and playing some shows, like some local shows. And the dream, like the biggest goal was to just play with like our friends band Drain, Hands of God, Gulch, just Bay Area, like the big Bay Area bands, big hardcore Bay Area bands to me and to the rest of the band. And those beautiful things happened, and it was like it was gold. It was an amazing experience. And then it just kept going. And it's been this like unexpected like joy, you know? But I had just as much fun and just as much of a good time playing those, you know, tiny rooms with like a bunch of hardcore kids as I do, playing festivals or having, quote unquote bigger opportunities. It doesn't really matter to me. It's just really exciting to go play music.
Beautiful and refreshing, mate. Like we sort of mentioned the musical journey you've gone on. Like you've started hardcore and you branched out through the punk and through the rock and the alternative rock. So along those lines, how much musical growth do you think Scowl has left in you?
I hope it never stops. I think I don't think that'll ever stop. I don't want to write the same record over and over. So, you know, whatever happens, happens. I can't quite predict it. I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't foresee anyone Scowl record sounding the same.
Beautiful, Kat. Thanks very much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. And the album is a cracker, so hopefully it brings you out of Australia and we can catch up for a beer.
Oh yeah. We'll be over there.